What is going on, everybody? We're here, we're live for yet another Wednesday political untitled stream. I've seen so many suggestions, Cobra Outpost, Redacted, things like that. We'll find when the right name comes along, we'll fucking know it and we'll find it. But for right now, we still don't know what this thing is called, other than the Wednesday political show. But Jeremy I don't know if he's going to be here or not, honestly. He's kind of lazy. You never know when he's going to show up or not. But I think he's probably going to be traveling, so he might pop in or something for a second. But we do have Suresh here, as always. What's up, man?
What is going on? What an exciting week this has been, huh?
You know, we started off, well, not really started off, but last week we were sitting here talking about, you know, Speaker of the House and how it went, you know, 3 times, or it was either 3 or 6 times at that point with no Speaker of the House. And it went on to what, like 15? Was it the 15th or 16th round that we finally got a speaker?
I think it was 15. Yep.
Somewhere around there. Something that we have not seen in well over a century. But at the end of the day, it's something that I thought was good, something that needed to happen, something I think we all agreed was a good thing to happen to the Republican Party. And they've now started to get their feet wet with this new majority they have in the House of Representatives. We'll see if it's the first step in a good House majority for the next 2 years, or if it's just going to be more of the same from the Republicans. But we do have a couple things to talk about today, including Joe Biden and the hypocrisy of the Democrats. Actually, there's going to be a lot of Democratic hypocrisy that we're talking about. Suresh, I don't know if you might have experienced anything like this at all, but is there anything quite like when you're a black man that doesn't have the opinion that you're supposed to have, and the fucking ferocity with which the left attacks you for it?
That is the one thing that I wish people could see, that are kind of on the other side and maybe shielded to a lot of, you know, some of the vitriol coming out of some of the liberals and some of the people on the left. A lot of people miss that, but I think if they got exposed for that alone, it would change a lot of people's minds. For someone like me, you know, they're all about, you know, rights and equality and all this stuff. However, the moment someone who looks like me with my skin color even remotely questions something that is against the narrative, maybe I just simply have a question. You know, I feel like I'm, you know, I went to university, I have a degree, and you know, I own a company, and I was thinking, well, maybe I think I have some sense. But the second I question something, I'm automatically the enemy. And what's even worse, and we're going to get to this, I know we're with regard to the situation we're talking about with Byron Donalds. Anytime anyone on the right or anyone from the conservative front, agrees with me and embraces my point of view or my concerns, and I respond by saying thank you, that's what I'm questioning, that's what I'm looking at, whatever, they will automatically do one of two things. They'll say, A, I'm being a sellout, Uncle Tom, whatever, or B, they'll say they're using you just to be like the token black guy. So there is no winning for someone who looks like me, unless you just are full-blown liberal, Democrat, Joe Biden all the way, orange man bad, and I want every shot in my arm, and I want, like, you know, everything under the sun that's left and liberal. So that's where you lose, and that's where they lose a lot of people. But a lot of the people don't see the attacks, Ryan. The attacks that I have gotten on social media, the attacks that I'll get in certain real life situations where people are a little bit more reserved in real life. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Am I not allowed to have my own opinion? Am I not allowed to ask these questions? And if I do, am I automatically the evil devil enemy? And essentially they're saying yes. Yes, we want black rights, we love black people, and we want black equality, and we want black empowerment. But the second a black man asks a question or has an opinion or a thought that goes against their narrative, you are automatic person non grata immediately. And you become just as evil as everyone else. it goes to that's when their true colors come out.
Yeah, we want to uplift female voices. We want to uplift voices of color. Unless they say what we don't want them to say, then fuck them. They're evil. They're traitors. They're traitors to their race. Just about as bad as it can get. But speaking of
like
race,
I've said, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Your skin color, your identity, your sexual orientation, it's only as good as the narrative that can be built around it. And if a narrative can't be built around it, you have to be discarded. You have to be removed. You have to be treated like shit. So that's the same song and dance. But eventually the pendulum's going to swing. They're going to wake up enough people to where it will make a significant difference. And I think that's the direction we're heading for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Close to home, in some degree, close to home and close to us. We saw what happened to a strong female that was loved and had a lot of great insights. We saw what happened to Gina Carano, and they love women, and they love feminism, and they love strong women, and they love women's rights. And I don't know, literally, figuratively, everything, a stronger woman than Gina, on a lot of fronts. And look what happened to her. Like, immediately, it was like a switch. It was like a switch. And that's the reality of the left. That is how they operate. And I feel like they used to try to hide it more. Now they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah, it's just gotten so aggressive. And I think they realize, because that is actually like the biggest threat to them, right? Because people that look like me and Jeremy can sit there and scream all day and they can label us something. But when the very same people that you're claiming to represent, the very same people that you're claiming, well, this is what's happening to us, when they're coming out and they're saying, well, that's not exactly true. Here's the reality. Here's my experience. That is the biggest threat to their entire narrative. So I think that's what come out so lately.
Is this about Byron Donald? Is that what we're talking about? Because I joined late, or
that's actually that's about what I was kind of setting up, but then we just started talking about it in general. But yeah, 100%. It's about Byron Donald.
This clip from this morning is fantastic. On MSNBC, it's so good.
Yeah, was that when he was speaking to Joy Reid?
Yes. And, there's a couple clips out there. I've got one of them that we'll play for sure. There might be others because it was a decently long interview, even though Byron Donalds didn't get much of a chance to speak. However, it started last week when Byron Donalds was nominated for Speaker of the House. He got 20 votes while they were still, holding up Kevin McCarthy's speakership. And I think we talked about it before. That was an awesome thing to see. A lot of Republicans standing tall against it to force Kevin McCarthy to agree to some terms before he was allowed to be Speaker of the House. But what we saw from Cori Bush, racist, disgusting Cori Bush, what we saw from her towards Byron Donalds was pretty ridiculous. For what it's worth, Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate for Speaker. He's a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. His name being in the mix is not progress. It's pathetic. And, he did respond. For what it's worth, nobody asked her opinion on the matter. Before you judge my agenda, let's have a debate over policies and the outcomes. Until then, don't be a crab in a barrel. And that kind of all leads to, I forgot to share my audio, so I got to do it now. But that leads to what we saw today when he goes on MSNBC, which is just a bad idea by pretty much anybody. But like, this is why Joy Reid and MSNBC rarely bring Republicans on their network. They're hit with facts that have no choice but to cut the guests off. They're not even letting this man speak.
My friend Jody Arrington, who's going to chair budget, he wants to look into the budget and also look into entitlements. Do you know that Social Security is going to be insolvent in 2035?
It is not going to be. That is not true. That is actually not true. No, it's actually not true. Now, Joy, it's actually not true. It's actually not. But it's actually not true.
The financial community.
That's actually not true. That's actually not true.
Will go insolvent.
That's actually not true.
Like
the arrogance level of this bitch is unbelievable. She just will not let him talk. And she just repeats the same exact thing over and over again just to try to drown out what he's saying because she knows that he's about to destroy her. So pathetic.
It is really sad because he's sitting there, he's telling you, hey, I have the credentials, I have the backup. Look at me. I'm qualified to speak about these things. Let me at least explain to you, even though I'm not necessarily advocating privatization of Social Security. Like, at least let me explain to you why this is a problem. And she doesn't want to hear it because it completely destroys their narratives.
Those are the facts.
That's not
Should
true.
we not
that is
prepare
not
for
true.
that?
What the Republican Party and what the Tea Party have proposed is privatizing Social Security, which would actually subject Social Security to the whims of the market, which I don't think that people, that's not what they paid into. No,
if you look at the returns of the S&P 500 since 2006, the returns of the S&P 500 since 2006,
you're saying, so you support privatizing.
She won't let this dude speak. Because she doesn't want to speak about something that he actually knows about. Here's something else. Look at this right here. Joy Reid insinuates to Byron Donalds he's a token black man being used by a white party.
Because
like I said,
back and forth with a fellow congresswoman who was critical of the nomination because it definitely looked like they were looking for a response to Hakeem Jeffries in you.
No, that was not any.
Because you've literally been there for one term, so you've never been in leadership. I'm asking you the question.
I'm answering.
That's what. And the reason I'm asking that, I'm just going to ask you this question, is one of the things that I don't know that you said it, but members have said is that they wanted to highlight the diversity of the conference. There are 4 African American members in the House caucus, the Republican caucus. There are 56 members in the Democratic caucus. So it's more diverse. There are more African-American members just that are House committee ranking members. They're at the same number that are actually members of the entire Republican House caucus. Right. So do you not believe that the idea was to make a diversity statement by nominating him?
Well, actually, first, that was not the idea. Because I was in the room when the decision was made by people who chose to nominate me. That never.
And you've still not explained how you were qualified. You've never been in leadership.
Are you going to let me answer your question?
Sure, tell us.
Okay. Number 2. Now let's go back. The reality is that a lot of members actually do believe in my ability to lead. They do. Am I to be despised for my youth because I've served one term? When members know that I have the ability to engage other members through the conference, but it's even bigger than that. Listen, we were at an impasse last week in our speakership elections. We got that done. Kevin McCarthy is now Speaker of the House. At the same time, I was working with members on both sides of our conference to make sure that we can get the job done, and we did. And that's the only thing that matters.
I love him.
He's awesome.
I love him.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people asking, why even go on these networks and things like that in the chat. The reason is because when you're someone like Byron Donalds who can hold their own easily and have a lot of answers for these questions and speak the way he can, you can actually find some people in that audience that realize what an asshole, what a piece of garbage Joy Reid is being, what hypocrites these people are being by not even letting this guy speak. And then when you do let him speak, the way he sounds and the message he's able to get across.
He's a future. Oh, sorry, sir. He's a future star right now, and they know it. The left knows it. They see that this guy, his stock is rising, and they are desperate to tear him down and set a Uncle Tom narrative around him, or whatever they can do. I love how she's bringing up how highlighting diversity is a negative thing. Suddenly, it's pretty interesting how that works now. I mean, the left these people are nuts.
It's so crazy. Jeremy, you took the words out of my mouth. Here she's saying, oh, there's 56 African Americans or black people here, and there's a handful over here. But then when they're trying to bring someone up, somehow that's a bad thing. Wait, hold on. Well, what if we're trying to get to 56 as well? Let's start with 1. I don't know. How do you get there? And so now that's a bad thing. It makes no sense. And I mark my words, this guy will continue to be labeled a racist and a white supremacist continuing on because Jeremy, you hit it on the head. He's a rising star. They can't go head to head with him and they can't go toe to toe to him in a conversation. He kills people with facts and they realize that. So what are they going to do? They have to besmirch his character, they have to discredit him, and they have to try to cancel him. And that's exactly what they're already starting to do.
Yeah, and when you look at some of the things his wife's also going through here, because again, you have to If you're black, you have to be the right type of black person. Byron and I have been together for 23 plus years, and the most racist attacks we experience are always from the left. They can't accept that a free-thinking black man achieves success on his own merits, and they sure as heck can't stand that he's married to me. I just looked you up at Byron Donalds. I should have known your wife was white. I'm not racist, but he's still a prop. But we see why he thinks he is who he think he is. You're his wife. Makes all the sense now. Surprise, surprise, his wife is. Never mind. No surprise he has a snowflake for a wife. I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Seen his wife, not surprised. Just like on and on and on from these people who are upset that he's married to a white woman. And
this is all what this is all doing, because this is all meant like how they're sending a signal to other non-white people that if you speak out, if you go against, this is what's going to happen to you and your family as well. It's all about setting a tone for the next non-white person that wants to speak out. They're letting you know you and your family are going to be under mega scrutiny. So it's about setting a standard and a warning shot to anyone else. It's about setting that tone. That's what they're doing. Freaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you guys both know here, and I'll say it because maybe you guys can't without getting attacked. Even if he had a black wife, it wouldn't matter. There'd still be an attack. We know that. These are the people that call for diversity and inclusion. But if he has a interracial relationship and an interracial marriage, all of a sudden that's not okay. It's now a bad thing. When it's on the flip side, if it's gay, trans, whatever, 19 things that are out there now on that side, that's okay. But a black man who has had a over 2 decades relationship with a white woman, yeah, all of a sudden that's a bad thing. It is so disgusting, the hate that they openly show when they try to claim to be the anti-hate and all about love and inclusion, and then there you go. You see what happens to them.
Yeah, based on nearly every commercial I see, I thought interracial marriages was like the standard now. I thought that was the new hot thing. Maybe it's only okay when a black woman is with a white man. Maybe that's the acceptable one. I'm not sure.
Ryan, you and once again, I'm going to say something that maybe you guys can't say, but every freaking commercial on TV right now has some sort of, there is no, and I'll say this because I'm seeing it. There's not even black on black couples. You're not even seeing that in commercials anymore. It's some sort of black and Asian, white and black, Asian and white. There's some kind of mix. Every couple, every family you see on television, there is no straight up white man, white woman TV commercial. Haven't seen one in can't remember how long. And I started to notice I haven't even really seen black man and black woman, because I feel like maybe they're thinking now that too might be like too uninclusive. It's absolute insanity.
Well, you remember, Suresh, what was that article from years ago? I know you'll remember it, Ryan. Straight black men are the white people of black people, right?
Yeah,
is that what it was, Ryan?
Yeah,
Straight black men are the white people of black people. That was an article from years ago. Holy shit.
There is no, there is no depth to their lowness. And one of the things that I saw that was one of the most disgusting things I'd ever seen. You guys remember when Amy Coney Barrett was going through the process that she was going through for the Supreme Court, how they attacked her and said the black children that she had adopted was just some kind of ploy. They were like a prop.
They called her a colonizer. They said she was colonizing black people to turn them into like black children or non-white children into white, to use her white supremacy and all this. Insane.
Like
imagine adopting children like fucking years and years ago, all in a ploy for your inevitable nomination to Supreme Court justice.
I mean, it was so crazy when they came out with that. And that was like, holy crap. Like, yeah, you're going after a guy's wife, still not cool. Now they were attacking her children and saying that they were props and this is like a ploy and she was colonizing, trying to turn black kids white. Like, holy crap. Like, you just simply can't do any right in their eyes if you are not with them. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's we continue to see the same playbook used again and again. I think people are catching on to it, and it's pretty disgusting overall. But let's get to some of these super chats. Jeremy, I know your reception's a little hit or miss, so it's no worries if you got a dip or whatever.
No, just as long as, you know, if I disappear, that's why. But I'm here as long as I can be.
All right, cool. Devil-Eyed Elvis for $5. Hit that like button. Thank you, bro. Good to see you here, man. Devil-Eyed Elvis, cool dude. Robert Wiles for $5. B. Ryan, Jeremy, Suresh. Jeremy, I was finally able to send you that gift. It's at your P.O. box. Sorry it took so long dealing with health issues. No, Robert, hey, man, we know you're dealing with shit. I'm glad you're getting that swimming leg soon, man. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I got your messages about that too, buddy. So hope all is well with you. And as always, we appreciate you, buddy.
Bert for $5. Jeremy, did Rep Mike Rogers do you in the state of Alabama proud when he pulled up on Matt Gaetz ready to fight about the blockade on the speaker vote?
I'm just glad his toupee stayed on. I'm just happy about that. But
it was so like weird the way the guy behind him grabbed his face.
No, it was almost like the way he grabbed him, and it was almost like he was trying to not grab his toupee to rip it off. He got nervous about where his hand was going to be. I don't know. The whole thing was funny as hell. I like Matt Gaetz a lot. I'm glad that he held his ground on everything, and that whole scenario. Like, we all knew McCarthy was going to be speaker. It still somewhat felt like a dog and pony show a little bit, but it was still kind of fun to watch it all play out. And just getting to hear Trump nominated as speaker just for, a little while, just to see the freakouts and Trump with the meme that he posted on Truth Social after he was nominated. Pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that entire thing, we talked about it when it was still going, that it was a good thing for the Republicans. It was a good thing to hold Kevin McCarthy's feet to the fire and the establishment, and that inevitably we all agreed he'd become speaker. But I think they got a lot of concessions out of him, and I think that's an absolutely good thing. That's what everyone should have expected from the beginning. If you actually thought anybody else was going to be the speaker, I think that was a little far-fetched, especially after Trump comes out and endorses him. Like, after 3 failed votes, didn't change a single vote with Trump's endorsement that day, which is crazy. But overall, Kevin McCarthy is now Speaker of the House, and the Republicans on the first day decided that what their agenda was going to be was to undo some of the things that Biden has already announced that he wants to do. House GOP kicks off majority with vote to slash IRS funding. And right here, GOP votes to repeal army of 87,000 IRS agents as its very first act of the new Congress. I don't know about you guys, but if this actually happens, if they're able to repeal that, if they're able to stop some of the funding for this, that would be an incredibly amazing thing that we can nearly all get behind. Who likes the IRS? I guarantee you, none of these people in Congress want the IRS actually looking at their stuff that they're doing right now. But these 87,000 IRS agents that were scheduled to be hired over the next several years, they wouldn't be going after people in Congress. They wouldn't even be going after rich people. They'd be going after normal, everyday people, because that's what the IRS does.
Yeah, I mean, to if anyone thinks that, they tell the lie and they think we're so stupid that we're going to believe it. These people are being hired to go after the billionaires. How many billionaires are there? Like, seriously, how many
100.
billionaires are there, right? There's not a handful in the grand scheme of things. They're hiring 87,000 new agents to go after a handful of billionaires that might not be paying their fair share. And if you were ever to change the tax laws, it would affect your friends and your buddies. So you're not going to do that. So what are they really going to do? These billionaires have the best and brightest tax attorneys and CPAs doing their taxes. They're not making any mistakes. They got every T crossed and I dotted. They're going after you and I, the regular people. And you think that these 87,000 new agents are going to try to what did they say? How many trillion in revenue increased IRS revenue were they expecting? Something like 4 trillion over the next however many years. You think they're going to get that out of billionaires? No, they're going to get that. You think they're going to get that out of what, 50 to 100 billionaires? No, they're going to get that out of the millions of probably middle-class Americans.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, the House of Representatives doesn't have the full power to do that, right? There's other branches of government. There's other branches of the legislative house that need to work with them to make this happen. So I don't know how far they're going to get, but the goal for this Republican majority needs to be obstruction. That's what it has to be. It has to be obstruction, doing everything they can to stop what the progressive left wants to do and what specifically Joe Biden's administration wants to do. So they got off to a good start by at least announcing that. We'll see if they're able to do anything with it or not. But yeah, I know I certainly would sleep better at night knowing there's less IRS agents. Now there is, I don't know if it's actually been voted on. There was a proposal to like abolish the IRS as a whole. Ain't no shot in hell that fucking passes. Not this Congress. But the idea of at least stopping this advance of so many people that are going to be hired by the IRS, I do think it's a good thing overall.
Yeah, this is a major good. It's a very good thing because we all remember when this went down, and anybody with a working brain and the slightest bit of common sense knew what this was all about, hiring all these IRS agents. So I'm really happy that the Republicans are actually doing something productive with their newfound power for once. Hopefully this is not just a one-off. Hopefully this is the beginning of a trend, because Joe Biden, I don't care if you voted for this man. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump. I don't care what your views on the world is. Joe Biden and his administration, which he's not even running, by the way, are ruining this country in an alarming rate. So hopefully the Republicans are going to try to do something for the first time in a long time. Instead of just standing up there, Ted Cruz, and giving a powerful speech about what you're going to do, actually fucking do something. So maybe this is the start of a trend. We'll see. I won't hold my breath.
Yeah, for sure. CJ for $5. The left can never argue in good faith. They always go on childish tantrums. You notice this with the detractors who try to debate Ripa as well. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate that. Samurai Vader for 2. Hey, it's Ryan, my second favorite black YouTuber. What's up, Samurai Vader? I imagine Ripa's your first.
Second favorite. What about Suresh? What about Suresh? Ryan's got to be bumped to third now. Come on.
What's up?
I don't know.
Well, Ryan's 1/3 black for having me on this show, so that's like street cred that should not be discounted.
It counts as something. I don't know how it works out to get 1/3 black. I don't know how like what parents, like from which side you have to have to make it a third black, but it works. Maybe your mom got the train ran on her, so you think you got 2 black dads. I don't know. Maybe something like that. But Flash for $10 says, great show again last night. It's always a riot when Ryan impersonates Josiah. Thank you, Flash. Appreciate that, buddy. I want to talk about Joe Biden because it's just so hilarious, isn't it? It wasn't that long ago where we heard everybody was up in arms about the raid on Mar-a-Lago. When they went in, they found classified documents in Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump brought classified documents back to Mar-a-Lago, and he's the most evil man. He needs to be locked up forever because of this. Well, at the end of the day, really nothing came of that. It was really not as big of a deal as people were trying to make it. Well, now the left is having their turn once again at showing what hypocrites they are, because Joe Biden is has the exact same problem that Donald Trump had. Classified documents from Joe Biden's vice presidency found in a private office. Classified documents from Biden's tenure as vice president were discovered in a private office in Washington and turned over to the National Archives in November. So this is before the midterms, by the way. Weird that didn't get out there till now. A White House lawyer confirmed Monday. The small number of documents with classified markings were found in a locked closet at Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement and are now under review by the Justice Department and National Archives, Special Counsel of the President said in a statement. And of course, Joe Biden says, hi, I didn't know that was there. I don't know what the problem is, but we're cooperating with everybody. Isn't it strange how the left is so willing to just dismiss this as nothing, just a simple, honest mistake by Joe Biden, whereas they wanted to demonize Trump. And even these fucking hacks on The View. Joy Behar, we know Trump is a liar and a thief, but we give Biden the benefit of the doubt. They're not even like trying to hide it.
Nope.
And in reality, it's not that big of a deal. If you're any person who's actually had a government job where you handle classified, confidential, secret, top secret information, whatever level you're at, you do know that, yes, it's a serious thing, but, you know, things do happen. There's investigations and things like that to make sure it didn't go out to anybody it shouldn't. But when you're president of the United States and you're the one that gets to determine some of these things, every single one of these presidents takes these classified documents back for their own personal libraries. Even vice presidents do it apparently as well. It's not as big of a deal as people were trying to make it. And now they're faced with the reality that they have to try to flip this switch so quickly and pretend like this isn't a big deal when it was Donald Trump, it was the end of the world.
The best thing I've seen so far on this, guys, was the attorney for the CIA. He was tied in with the CIA, some kind of attorney. Back in August, he was on CNN, MSNBC, and every other channel that you could think of. And his statements were the documents found at Mar-a-Lago that Donald Trump had allegedly brought there was a major threat to national security, inexcusable in any way, could have compromised, you know, everyone under the sun. And he went on and on and on. Yesterday, he was on CNN saying that the documents found, and I want to get into something real quick, but he was saying that the documents found at the Penn, this Biden Penn Center for, in DC were, although they were classified, this happens. This happens, documents are taken. It happens. It's not the end of the world. And this is going to probably come out to, be, they'll look into it, but it's probably going to be nothing. So in just a matter of 5 months, he went from saying essentially Donald Trump committed the most egregious crime on planet Earth and needed to go to jail. 5 months later, the same thing happens to Joe Biden. And the same guy on the same network is saying, not that big of a deal. We're going to get past this. It's really not the end of the world. This happens all the time. It's unbelievable that this guy, who is allegedly an attorney, is going to sit here and go on the same network and say completely opposing things. And we're seeing that on all the news networks. But here's what I want to know. And this is a question that nobody seems to be asking. Ryan, you have people in your world maybe that are attorneys, someone you would call, Jeremy, you too. Through 221B, I have personally, I have an attorney. My attorneys are not randomly going through closets at offices that belong to me or that maybe have my name on them or that I'm affiliated for no reason at all. I mean, Ryan, I'm looking behind you. I don't see any attorneys rifling through your closets right now while nothing's happening. Jeremy, I can't see you, but I'm assuming there's no attorneys in your house randomly searching your closets right now at your home or your office. So the question that no one's asking here is, what were the attorneys doing going through this closet that was locked in this Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy? What were they doing there? And why were they going through this locked closet, rifling through documents? What were they doing? What were they looking for that they happened to come upon this? That's what I want to know. I have an idea of what was going on, but it's just an idea. It's a theory.
Yeah, we do also have, we've got Joy Behar herself, the pig Joy Behar. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's reshare it. Sometimes StreamYards does that. There we go. Here's from our man, Benny Johnson. The View hack, Joy Behar accidentally admits the quiet part out loud after Biden found stealing classified docs.
Really, I think that what you just said is right, that there are differences in what happened.
Yes, but the optics are not good.
Well, we all know that Trump is a liar and a thief. We know that. So it's not to jump to say that he obstructed and he lied. We don't think that Biden is a liar and a thief, so we give him the benefit of the doubt. That's partly what's going on. But what I think.
Imagine saying Biden's not a liar. When look at everything that happened with fucking Hunter. Look at everything that happened with Ukraine, the big guy, like all this stuff. What a joke.
Also is going on, no matter what the truth of it is, Whoopi, they will spin it. Bubblehead and Marjorie Taylor and that crowd, Matt Gaetz, you think they're not going to spin this, that it's just as bad as Trump? And so the lie gets out there, people believe it, just like that Donaldson person, whatever his name is.
Byron.
What's his name?
Byron
Donalds. I saw him also. He was at the fight on the floor, too, wasn't he?
He was nominated for speaker a number of times.
By two people.
He's the new darling.
15 rounds.
But I mean, what I'm
darling
just
of the
saying is that the
Republican Party.
lying has been so invasive, so ubiquitous that no one will believe the truth anymore, and that you can put that at the feet of Donald Trump, who started.
I can't believe that this is a show. Like that these fucking women get together and actually discuss political shit. I can't believe this is actually a show that airs. But you know, when you look at
no facts,
and when you look at these things, there's obviously more documents in the Donald Trump scenario than there was in the Joe Biden scenario. There's also a big difference, though. I'm saying that I don't think it's a big deal either way, to be quite honest with you. But there's a big difference because when the president can say something, determine the classification level of something, vice someone who is the vice president having that, there is actually a difference there. You can justify one. You can't necessarily justify the other. So I don't know. I personally, neither is a big deal. It's just going further to show the hypocrisy of these people on the left.
I don't. Sorry, I'm
no. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
yeah, but to me, there is absolutely no issue on either side of this. Just like Ryan said, this is not about like Joe. Ryan's right on that point of the vice president, though. That's what would call into question anything. If you really wanted to go, what's a more serious situation? Well, Trump can classify as the president, former president. At the time, he could classify whatever he wants to classify as president. You have that power. The vice president doesn't have that power. So for the VP to have classified documents, that would be a problem if you were doing comparison. But overall, it's not a big deal. It's about what? Showing the hypocrisy of the left. They lost their minds over this entire Mar-a-Lago thing, which the bullshit was that the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago how they did it. But that's neither here nor there. The point being is that they made this seem like this was the end of democracy and Trump is going to prison forever. And now suddenly, now that it's happened to Biden, you see, they don't really care about these things. You have people like me, Ryan and Suresh, who will sit there and go, overall, like if you're just calling a spade, neither one of these are really a big deal. But the left, it's only a big deal when it's Trump. Sick freaks.
Yeah,
I agree.
I want to slightly disagree on something here. The point at which a president having classified documents who has the power to declassify anything, and that's one thing. And as vice president, you do not have the power to declassify anything. So I think that's quite a big difference. The other thing is the documents that Donald Trump held were at his home. These classified documents that they're saying there's roughly a dozen of them, but that's not confirmed. That's coming from Biden's attorneys. There could be 3 dozen. We don't know. But these documents that they said had sensitive, information on undercover covert operatives, names, locations, things like that. They're saying that these documents were at this, Penn Biden Center. So it wasn't at his home. They were at an arbitrary place. Now,
a place that he was using as an office, a place in DC, University of Pennsylvania, just a random office that he used. That's it. Who knows what kind of control there was for it.
Right. So I think everyone knows the level of security at Mar-a-Lago. We could all imagine that, right? But this office that he was using at this think tank, it's crazy to say think tank and Joe Biden in the same sentence, but this academic facility, what was the security there? Who had access to these documents? The average person is not going to walk into Donald Trump's basement at Mar-a-Lago, right? But who had access to these?
Unless your name's Nick Fuentes, then maybe.
Maybe.
Oh.
But the other thing that no one's talking about is the University of Pennsylvania. This center was not based around fundraising at all. There was no fundraising. However, they went from the year prior to Biden coming in, the amount of donations they got, and it was primarily domestically, the number was somewhere around 30 million. After Biden and this Penn Biden Center, somehow the number of dollars coming in exceeded 100 million. And this 100 million number was predominantly from overseas, foreign entities, predominantly China. Now, those are just the facts. I'm not insinuating anything. So we have this situation where they went from getting 30 million to nearly triple that, more than triple that amount, after this Penn Biden facility opens. And most of the money that came in randomly came from China. So I don't really know if that should be looked into, but it sounds a little fishy.
Yeah, it certainly does. And for people that aren't familiar, for every different classification level, whether you're talking about confidential, secret, top secret, there are different stipulations and different ways that these things are supposed to be stored, how many doors they have to be locked behind, what type of locks that these things need to be behind on the door. Oftentimes just a simple little fucking combo lock that you put on a locker. That doesn't count. That's not something that is adequate. Sometimes you need a cipher lock. Sometimes you need multiple locks. Sometimes you need the way they're even stored need to be covered, and every single page needs to be marked a certain way. There's a lot of shit. It's a pain in the fucking ass. I had to actually deal specifically with classification, with classified materials, confidential, secret, and top secret stuff in terms of controlling it, and if we found that there was a violation, the investigation that had to be done into it. I've done this shit before. It happens all the fucking time in the government. Happens all the time because people accidentally put stuff on one thing. They stick a fucking thumb drive in something they shouldn't be sticking a thumb drive in. And then all of a sudden you have to find out who the fuck was in this office from this hour to this hour. And you have to do it's a pain in the ass. Trust me. So stuff like this happens in government for sure. But the idea that one was just the end of the world and this one they just want to brush aside, it's laughably stupid. Makes all the sense of the world. I'm sure Joe Biden will continue to try to do his best to brush everything off, just like he always does. Zenny Biscuit for 2. Corn Pop planted the documents. Maybe that could be true. Maybe Corn Pop. He was a bad dude. Recep the Cripple for 5. Biden literally stepped down from a presidential run because he lied and was found out. That's true. We know Joe Biden's not a liar. He lied about his college, right? Or he plagiarized something.
He plagiarized a college paper. He lied about some accomplishments he had. And hey, listen, the incredible part is you have Joy Behar sitting here on The View saying that Joe Biden's not a liar. He's admitted and apologized for lying and for plagiarism publicly. So he is a liar, and even he has admitted that.
Yeah, the definition of a liar in Biden. Kevin Mites for 2. I love how The View act like Trump invented lying. Yeah, just him. He's the only one. Patriotic Gestalt for $5. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Doesn't say anything. I wanted to shout out my man Mark Hendricks in chat. Mark, I got the package you sent me, Mark. And yeah, dude, thank you so much, man. It's very cool. I really appreciate it. Got it in my P.O. box the other day. So thank you. Shout out to all the people over on Rumble as well. We've got like 55 or 60 people watching us on the Patriot Outpost Rumble channel. So I appreciate it. That's about it. Now, we like to keep this show. We're trying to keep the show to about an hour. That's the goal for these. And somehow we actually may have done it today. We may have actually done it. It's about 5 minutes till 1. Jeremy, I know
that's because I can't talk.
Shitty.
Yeah, that's because I can't talk much. So, but yes, thank you guys so much. And obviously the everything with Orlando, we're getting everything set up down there. So that might change the dynamic of this show for the better. Not that, you guys have been unhappy. I think you guys have been loving it, but it's only going to improve from here. So thank you guys so much.
Yep. And Suresh, what do you have going on, man? Where can people find you?
On YouTube at The Situation with Suresh. A lot of people have been hitting me up telling me that I got to get the Rumble connectivity going. So I am working on that this week. So I want to let people know that you'll be able to soon find me over on Rumble as well. Of course, 221B Tactical everywhere you can find anything at 221B Tactical for the business front. That Situation with Suresh and Suresh_actual on the gram. And, thanks to you guys and thanks to, probably some of the people who are even watching this for helping my channel grow. I think we're over 2,000 already. It went like that. So I really appreciate it. And people just appreciate, unbiased truth. People just want the truth, and that's what they're really loving over there. So gonna keep putting the content out there on TikTok with some of the teasers. So you could check out At The Situation with Suresh on TikTok as well. And loving the show. Whatever unnamed. I'm loving this because this is another outlet to get the truth out there to people.
Scott says We the People Wednesday. That's an interesting one right there. We the People Wednesday.
I like it. But hey, listen, this might be more than a Wednesday show. This might, as Jeremy stated, this might be a daily show.
That's right. So it might not be a Wednesday. It might not be a Wednesday thing. We shall see. Roughneck for $10. The View is a cautionary tale on the horrors of weaponized menopause. It's a good point there, Roughneck. You ever get that many women who are going through hot flashes at the same time? It's not a good thing, especially when they're all leftists. But hey, guys, we appreciate the hell out of you. Thanks for Steph for modding and taking care of everything. And we will be back here next week. We don't know if the show will be named yet. Who knows? But we'll talk to you. Probably not. We'll talk to you then. Peace.
Peace out, everyone.